Can someone tell us exactly what the rematch clause says?
He knows there's a rematch clause there. He knows there's a rematch. If we want to take it, we'll take it. And you know, I'd love to see Tim take that and win them belts straight back. So I'm happy for a rematch to happen next. And you know, good luck trying to get out of it.
You know the nature of big fights, and you know, like, does a loss here scupper Crawford and Spence in the short term?
It definitely affects the schedule. You know, everything that we'd sort of planned for this year is now rejigged, but I don't think it's for a bad reason though either. It just means that, you know, there's now another fight for Tim to consider. So yeah.
Can you get the sense the rematch is there, but Tim still wants the bigger fights rather than the rematch? Is that big?
Well, I mean, I was just asked a question if I'd love to see Tim have the rematch next, and I said yes originally, and I thought, well, look, if an opportunity to fight Errol Spence pops up, or an opportunity to fight Terence Crawford or anyone else as well, if one of those pops up, you're silly to not consider it. But all of those fights are fights that he'd love to have. They're fights that I'd love to see him in. He didn't lose anything tonight in his stocks. You know, it just showed how much of a warrior Tim actually is, and you know how much he's ready to get in there and absolutely put everything on the line, because he's a bloke who couldn't see for 10 rounds, still managed to push it to a split decision.
Is there a timeline with the rematch clause?
You're going to make me check my paperwork. Look, there's definitely a timeline, and we'll have a discussion over the next few days as to when we'll activate it, or whether any of these other big fish want to jump up and swim with Tim.
Just to confirm, like if Tim wants to fight Fundora next, that's
yeah, that'll be the plan. Yeah.
And he'll be here.
Well, that's still up in the air. You know, that's we've been able to put on great shows back home in Australia. The opportunity to fight here in Las Vegas, we're really excited about. We'd love to come back here again, but we're open to wherever it lands.
Georgie, this isn't a loaded question, but do you regret it all, taking that fight now on such short notice? I know it was unlucky that cut, but...
No, not at all. I mean, you saw what I saw for them first 2 rounds. That fight was Tszyu's fight. If he wasn't blinded by the blood, it definitely ends early in Tszyu's favour.
How proud are you of that performance?
I'm very proud. Look, he talks about being a warrior. He talks about, you know, how hard he wants to push himself. He showed that out there. He showed that, and you know, I've got nothing but respect for him and his team for the amount of work that they put in, because he was so prepared for that fight. A freak accident happens like that, with a waterfall of blood pouring into his eyes for 10 rounds, and he still didn't hesitate getting up out of his corner every round and going back to war with a bloke that the odds were stacked in his favours for those 10 rounds.
Can you shed any? Sorry, I was going to say, do you have any thoughts on the commentators saying that the team didn't have the right ointment? Tim said no comment, which we're understanding meant I'm not even buying into it. Can you give us your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think what Tim said is spot on. You know, he's not buying into any of that stuff, and he's got a great team around him. He's got an absolutely great team around him, and the size of that cut, the position that it was in. I mean, you saw it gushing out. Like, yeah, I'm not the professional to speak on that, but I know that they did a very good job of trying to contain what was a crazy cut.
George, were you offended when Errol Spence came in and was included in the post-fight stuff?
No, not at all. I mean, Errol Spence is a guy that people want to fight at this weight. If he wants to come to 154, have your conversations with Tszyu, have your conversations with Sebastian Fundora, because that's a fight that everybody would be interested in. Well, put it this way, it's one fight that we wouldn't be walking away from.
There's no blame game going on within Tszyu's team about the managing of the cup?
No.
George, what about Israel Madrimov or one of those guys back in Australia? Is that an option?
Look, we'd take any fight in Australia. The options that are out there now with Madrimov winning that title, you know, that we could be fighting in Europe. You know, who knows? But what I will say is our priority at the moment is we want to get redemption on Sebastian Fundora. We'd love a rematch with that. If another opportunity pops up, we'll talk about that one. But we've got a short time space to make that decision.